I'm going to start off with initial dispatch. Toronto Fire, Toronto Police, and Toronto Paramedic Services. Please be advised that we have reports of a possible terrorist-initiated device explosion at the Scotiabank Arena, located at 40 Bay Street, downtown Toronto. There has been multiple calls reporting a loud explosion with visible flames and smoke coming from the west side of the building. There are reports of structural damage and injuries. This will be a multi-agency major incident response. All responding units are to stage at the designated command post, Union Station, North Entrance. Use caution. Incident involves a potential secondary device. All responding units switch to Tactical Channel 3. The time is 14:22. For initial units to dispatch, starting off with Toronto Fire Services, I would dispatch a full first alarm assignment from Toronto Fire Services. This includes at least one aerial ladder, at least 4 pumpers, one district chief, and 1 rescue. For Toronto Police, I would dispatch patrol units and emergency task force, also known as the ETF, and the explosive disposal unit. Toronto Paramedic Services would receive multiple ambulances, 1 superintendent, and emergency support unit rescue for triage. Given the suspected terrorism-related explosion, I would also immediately notify the RCMP and the Integrated National Security Enforcement Team and Emergency Management Ontario. Given the location, city transit authorities and TTC control would also have to be advised, considering it is relatively close to Union Station. Now I'm going to take a look at the roles of the initial units. Starting again with Toronto Fire Services, their focus is on fire suppression, search and rescue, and structural safety. The first arriving fire captain would assume command until relieved. They would also isolate the area and prepare for a potential secondary device scenario. Police units would establish inner and outer premises, assist with mass evacuation, and immediately begin scene containment. The EFT and the EOD units would assess for additional threats and devices. Paramedics would establish triage zones, perform mass casualty incident, also known as MCI protocols, and begin priority transport of the critically injured individuals. Their incident commander would coordinate with fire and police commanders in unified command structures. Safety concerns. Some key safety concerns would include the risk of a secondary device, which is quite common in terrorist attacks, and it's meant specifically to target first responders. Structural collapse risks would also be high depending on the extent of damage that has already been done. Toxic smoke inhalation and burning materials is a concern for both civilians and first responders. With this being said, PPE and SCBA would be required. Crowd control and mass panic can also present a danger, especially near transit hubs like Union Station, which is often quite busy. Additionally, there can also be chemical or radiological agents involved if it is a hybrid CBRNE event. Ensuring responders work in teams, follow accountability protocols, and conduct air monitoring will be essential for scene safety. And lastly, we're going to talk about additional units that are required. So once initial units have stabilized the scene, additional units would be likely required. These include hazmat teams to test for chemical or radiological agents, urban search and rescue, because there is a large scale of structural collapse, public health officials to coordinate any contamination control or mass casualty tracking, Toronto Transit Commission, TTC, supervisors for rerouting transit and security infrastructure, Emergency Management Toronto to initiate the City Emergency Operations Center, crisis response teams, including victim services for mental health units and witnesses and their families, and media relation officers to control public communications and prevent misinformation. All units would be directed through the unified command structure to ensure coordinated response and effective resource allocation.